Before we start this podcast, I want to definitely remind you of a sponsor for Fresh of the Word, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest. In the world of wrestling where there's hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads, don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. So if you'd like to discuss a possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or even Zubaz, then drop them a line at 20by20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. And also check out their enamel pin line. It's super cool.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what it goes. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddamn it, we fresh. Fresh, fresh, goddamn it, we so damn fresh.
All right, welcome to the Fresh of the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And like always, we have the freshest guests for you. And the guest for this episode is Kiki Yeung. She is a comedian, producer, director, writer. She's the founder and producer of the comedy show Crazy Woke Asian, along with the writer and director of the romantic comedy series Sweet and Sour Chicks that is currently in the making. And plus, she is one of the funniest mothers on the internet. How you doing?
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah, this has been a long time in the making. We were trying to do this at the end of last year and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
it just didn't happen, but that's fine because I was kind of like, that was one thing I like. We were talking before we started recording and everything, is that with this whole quarantine and everything, I was able to catch up on things. And my problem was at the end of the year, it was like I was doing too many interviews, and I was like, I got like 15 interviews recorded. Now I got to post them all, and I was just like, so I was just like,
But it's
I'm,
because sometimes you do like a whole bunch of interviews and then you just have like a whole, like another month you just, edit and put them all out.
that's what I
Right?
was trying to do, but I did too many, and it was getting to the point where I'm like, oh damn, man. I'm like, how am I gonna catch up? And then there was just other things that was going on, and I was just like,
Christmas.
then there's just things that was going on in my life, just being exhausted, being overwhelmed with things to the point where I'm like, I just don't even want to do anything.
Yeah, I get like that too. Like, yeah. Sometimes you just want to do so much and then you just forget that you need to just take it easy sometimes, Just
Right.
so many things you want to do in so little time. And then you get really burned out.
Oh yeah, I definitely just got burnt out, and then so yeah, I'm like, yo, when it happens, and it usually happens at the best time. Yeah, and I think this is a good time. We're all hunkered down into the quarantine.
The
We're all
quarantine life.
quarantine life. And
Well,
you've been keeping things, running,
yeah.
during your quarantine life, through Instagram Live and all
hmm
that stuff. Kind of, talk about how you've been dealing with, keeping your stuff going, creating opportunities for other people during this whole quarantine.
Well, I just, like everybody, at first I was just a little, I felt a little panicked, like, oh wow, no more live shows. Okay. And then my son, he couldn't go to school anymore. I was like, okay, no more mommy me time, except when I lock myself in the bathroom, like for like 5 minutes, and then he'd be like, bang, 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 I want to come into the shower with you. But from that, I was like, I gotta adapt. Maybe I'll try this Instagram live. Like everyone was doing it. I just click on people's live, and I was like, this is kind of fun. And I like to sing karaoke for my mommy me time. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try doing this on the Instagram live. And then people were like requesting songs, and I was like, oh, what about the comedians? Really, they lost all the gigs. The ones that are like traveling a lot. This is like really bad. Like, how are they gonna make any money for a long time, right? So I thought, well, maybe I should try to do an Instagram live karaoke show, the Crazy Woke Asian karaoke party. Because the comedians feel strange to do stand up on Instagram live, because really it's just two people and you can't feel
Right.
the audience. The point is to have an audience. So we did the karaoke, and then we did a woke lightning round of Q&A. And then that was kind of fun. And then I started seeing all these Zoom shows, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the Zoom is about. I actually, in San Diego, my agent sent me an audition for them a long time ago for the Zoom industrial, where I pretend to be one of those people in the office.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's so weird. I'm like, Zoom, that sounds familiar, and that was it. So I said, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to do this. Of course, when I did the first Zoom show like 2 weeks ago, we had like around 50 people around there. And I was so surprised. And before that, I was a little nervous. I'm like, what if it clicks off? What if I can't join? What if people can't join? What if they're trolls, Come on, say racist things. I don't know. Like, things can happen.
Right.
But it all worked out. You were there. Thanks for supporting.
Yeah, that's fun.
And, yeah, it was fun. People felt like they were socializing because you can see everyone. And then you can hear them laugh. Except when they talk, that one lady that was talking, I was like, who's that heckling?
Right. There's just somebody randomly talking like the whole time. Totally
Also,
forgot that their mic is on and like.
Yeah. Next time I'm gonna make an announcement before, so I learned.
Right.
But, yeah. So and I thought, oh, if I could just raise some money and get donations, then I split it, among the comedians, so that can help anything, even like $40-50, whatever it is, it just helps buy a meal, or I don't know, put gas in the car if they had to go anywhere, So that's how I started doing that, and it made me focus on helping people and not like wallowing in like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be at home, no more live shows, being all panicked and everything. So that helped me too, as much as it helped the comedians. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, you've all, with all your projects, it's always been about creating opportunities for the Asian community. Like, what really motivated you to do that?
There wasn't that many, opportunities for Asian and Asian women, particularly Asian female comedians. Even I felt like, there's always been Margaret Cho, which I like, and
Yeah.
who else? Way before, like way when in the 90s when I was growing up, like that's all I saw. Who else? Do you know any other Asian female comedians back then?
No, it's like there's certain things like in our culture where they'll like let one person in from a minority, and like that's it. Like, and Margaret Cho was the one person who they let in.
Yeah,
And
but
they're
then
like,
her show got canceled, and bye bye.
yeah, they're like, okay, we'll let you do stand up and have you stand up specials. We'll like everything, but you're the only one. No one. Oh, there's another Asian. Oh no. We already got Margaret Cho, so we can't give you an opportunity. Yeah, it's always stuff like that. That always, and that's kind of across the board for like sort of minorities where you feel like they let one person in. And then like, oh no, you can't have a show because Margaret Cho's show didn't last, so we can't work with you because it's obvious that Asian.
Nobody wants Asians.
Yeah, you're like, Asian comedies are not successful, blah blah blah.
Right.
So
yeah. I saw this documentary. I think it was about Eddie Murphy, or one of the main big black comedians, like in the 80s, 90s, and it was the same thing. It was like only a few or one or two famous black comedians, and it was like, yeah, there's only one we let one in at a time or two.
Yeah, they just let a few in, just to show their their diversity. They're like here's my black friend, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, and so that and just at school I was the only Asian in well, I went to a theater school, so I was like the one Asian out of the 15 students in the class. And I don't know, I just always felt like I don't want to wait for people to hand me a project or give me an opportunity. I've always been, my dad's an entrepreneur. So I've always felt like I'll create something and I can. And then I started creating when I was at the University of Washington, when I was taking my undergrad, when there were barely any roles for the Asians. Okay. And I would do running crew and there were no roles. It was like, great. This sucks. And, I think that all that built up over time, and it made me really learn all the different sides of production.
Yeah.
And writing and learn how to direct and learn how to work with actors. So I just, and so I used to produce theater in Seattle and San Diego. So producing comedy shows is actually simpler because you don't have to rehearse,
Right.
If you get a good lineup, they know what they're doing. Just come to the show and, get on the mic and there you go. Yeah.
When was sort of like the first time that you kind of thought, hey, maybe I could be doing this for a while, even if I have to be doing this by myself, or leading the charge and developing my own things. When was that first time when you're like, I kind of understand this now, so I think I can continue on and continue to learn things.
You mean producing the Crazy Woke Asians, or just producing?
Just in general,
stuff?
from when you were first starting to, produce stuff and everything when you're in school and everything, and after that, when was the first time you were like, I want to do this, for a while, and I feel like I can handle this?
I think before, right after I graduated, I produced some sketch comedy shows for a while, and I had a whole crew and a whole cast of actors, and we would rehearse all the time. And I thought I can do this. I was still learning back then, do the marketing and stuff, but the content was funny, from the feedback of the audience. But I felt like I could do it because there were other people that were coming to the show that were trying to see what we're doing. So it was like, oh, let's check you out and see what's going on. So I felt like there must be something I'm doing right.
Right.
Because people are talking about it. They want to come see the show. And then so after I graduated from University of Washington, I went to Hong Kong for a while and I lived there for a little bit and I taught English drama and I did some films and, auditioned for a while. So, and I don't know, I just wanted to make it in America. I feel like I want to make it in the USA. I don't know. It's just that feeling. I don't know. I can't even explain it. I just wanted to come back and make it here first. So I came back and then I think when I had my son, I just felt like, man, I really want to try something new. I always liked stand up, but I always felt like it's so much harder than acting because you cannot put on a character. You have to be you and just be okay if you bob. But I took a class and then I don't know, from then on, it all kind of clicked when I started booking comedy shows and I see all the shows. There's me, the only Asian, or maybe one other one. And then I met so many of us though that are different, because not Asians all look alike or sound alike. But
right.
And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool to just put everybody together, right, on one show and then see what happens? Because I feel like there's so much talent and so much demand for people want to come see the shows, not just Asians, any kind of people, So I started doing the show May 2018 and it sold out 2 weeks before. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I just kept doing it. And then people kept coming to see the show and they were supporting. And then I was like, this is pretty fun. And so I produced the first ever all Asian solo performance festival. Cause I used to have a one woman show too. and I was probably like the only one or two Asians in the whole Fringe festival,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, huh, there must be other Asian people that can do these solo shows that I just never met. So I started producing that. And last year I did that at the Santa Monica Playhouse, and then we somehow we partnered with NBC. So these are like surprises. I think I wasn't expecting, to partner with any network. So we partnered with them, and we sold out a bunch of shows, and it was really fun. And then this year we're doing it again, but we're postponing it. But I feel like there are so many Asians. They're talented. They just waiting to have the opportunity, like I was, to like shine, to share their story and stuff. So
In all sorts of entertainment, there's definitely like the Asian stereotypes.
yeah.
What stories from the Asian's perspective do you want to see more of that you don't see enough of?
Like single mom comedians.
Yeah, like single.
That's the character I play in Sweet and Sour Chicks.
Right.
Um, Single mom comedians, like more three dimensional. Like they can be sexual without being overly like dragon lady type. Like you know what I mean. Like they can also be smart, or what types of Asian characters. They don't have to speak with an accent. They can just be them that happen to be Asian. You know, what other type of characters? People that are very successful in business, or people that are actually working class too.
Yeah.
That really bad at math.
I'm really bad at math.
That are not frugal at all. They like to spend every dollar.
Right.
Funny, huh? I should write a character like that. Yeah, just spend everything. Like they wear their shoes all over their house, right? And then they eat rice with fork. That would be funny. Total opposite of a normal stereotypical Asian, right?
Right. As somebody, you put your motherhood out there and and everything, and your son is so cute. I can't even deal. He's so cute, and even writing a character, being a single mom, or in Sweet and Sour Chicks. There's always that stereotype with Asian characters, or Asian moms and stuff, where it's like the stone cold Asian mom that's just says it
Tiger
how
mom,
says it how it is, won't
won't touch you or kiss you or hug you.
any of that, Do you
Like if you got 99, why didn't you get 101?
right, stuff like that. And I know, that exists, but do you hope that like there's more Asian mother characters that are just a lot looser?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I play pretty loose one on my
A
show.
loose in many different ways.
Yeah, but yeah, I think these days, anyways, this new generation, a lot of moms are pretty cool. They drink wine in front of the kids. They're not like trying to make them achieve constantly, and they don't beat them. I do curse in front of my son sometimes, all the time. No, sometimes.
Sometimes.
You're like all the time.
All the-
Well, he's gonna learn the word F and S anyway someday. Might as well now.
Right.
No, it's terrible. But I mean, I'm pretty loose with my son. See, he's banging on that door. But he can hear me laughing. He's like, fun. I sense mom is having fun. Bang! I'm gonna ruin it. I'm gonna terrorize her. But yeah, I feel like more moms that way would be good. Because they are tiger moms. But there's nothing wrong with being a tiger mom either. 'Cause
Right.
my mom was like that. She actually saw something I did on YouTube. I think it was like a tiger mom character, and she's like, "You think I'm a tiger, mom?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're the one who told me you got 99, you get 100. She's the one to tell me you don't do your homework. I'm gonna cut your hair off." She cut my hair off so short that it looked like you, like a boy. I know. Can you imagine like this? My hair, like it was so short. I had short hair all my life, like it was like a boy. For a while, it was like a bowl cut. Like she put a bowl on top of my head, and she just.
You just look like a little Asian boy.
But that's why I always have long hair, because she wouldn't let me, because I would just she says that I just play with my hair and braid it all day, all night, and not do my homework. So that's what I got. I mean, I was so scared of my mom that, like, one time she gave me all these flowers to give to the convent, like the nuns at my convent school in Hong Kong, like it's a Catholic school. And somehow I stepped in a ditch. Like there's the cobblestone up the hill, and I was holding like 5 bouquets of flowers for the nuns, for the teachers and the nuns. And then I stepped into a hole, and then my whole left leg like went inside the I don't know what you call that. It's a ditch. I don't know. It's a hole. And my whole leg I was like, the first reaction was, "Oh my God, mom's gonna kill me. I dropped all the flowers on the floor."
Yeah, forget about my leg, you know.
Yeah. Crap about my leg. Who cares? And I didn't even tell her till weeks later, when a bone grew out of my leg. I'm not kidding you. Like an extra ankle came out of my leg. Not my leg, my foot.
Ooh.
But it's not gross. But then she tried to take me to a Chinese herbalist or whatever, I don't know, chiropractor, and she just tried to press the bone.
Oh my God.
She tried to press the bone back into the foot, and then I was like, "No, mom, it really hurt." I was like 10 maybe, and then she took me to a doctor, got an X-ray, and then my bone cracked in the X-ray because she pressed it too hard. It's crazy.
Wow.
I went on a tangent about my mom, but she is a character, let me tell you.
Right. So, you grew up in Hong Kong, and then you moved to the States when you were a teenager?
Yeah, when I was 12, like to Bothell, Washington. Ooh, the boonies.
Oh man. So how was that transition, man? How did you like what was it like growing up in Hong Kong?
Oh, Hong Kong was fun. My dad, he like I said, he was an entrepreneur. So he was actually like the licensee for Walt Disney. So his company created, like, manufacture all the Disney clothing, like Batman, Popeye, Snoopy. So it was really fun. Like when I was young, I would wear those clothes, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I have Mickey Mouse sweatshirt," and everything was like Madonna and Michael Jackson, and I want to go to America. It's so cool. I mean, I knew English. They taught English, but with a British accent, in Hong Kong. But my dad always worked, and my mom, she was very strict. So it was like me and my younger brother. My older brother ran away a long time ago, so I rarely saw him much. But it was really nice growing up in Hong Kong. I mean, it's like New York, and it's very busy. You go shopping, walk around, eat everything. It's just, you don't have time to sit at home and chill like this.
Right.
I go to school, I come home, I take swimming lessons, piano lessons, and then dinner. Next day, do it over. Weekend, I spend time with my parents. So I didn't even really have that many friends of my own, just like my parents' friends' kids, right? They are my friends. So when I moved to Seattle, I was with my aunt that she, how do you say it? She got us the green card, or she helped us get the visa. But it was like long time coming because of 1997, because Hong Kong was going back to China. So my parents were really worried. So a lot of Hong Kong people were immigrating everywhere, Canada, US.
Yeah.
So we applied for like 10, 15 years. And if we didn't go, it would expire. So we were like, no, we got to go. So 1992, that's when we left. And I mean, at first it was fine. I was still only 12. But then when I moved to Bothell, we settled in Bothell. And it was like this small town. And there were no Asians there. I mean, there was like 2 Filipinos, but they thought they were white too. And there was a Korean, American that speaks perfect American English, but it was tough. And then my dad would still fly back to Hong Kong for business, and then my mom should just tell me to cook all the time, like clean and cook. Because in Hong Kong you can have a housekeeper to help you. People, it's more affordable. Like most Hong Kong household, they hire some housekeeper or a nanny to help because it's way more affordable than in America. So when we moved here, she had nobody to help, so I became her slave. But I learned how to cook. I learned how to clean. Like I started doing stuff. I remember I used to chop. Like, I don't know, she made me chop garlic, and I've never done it. I didn't know. I've never had to. So I was like, she's like, oh my God, you have no brain. Like, how can you not even know how to chop? Like, put some effort into it. Like, chop harder, Kiki, chop harder. And I'm just like, shit. Sorry, can I curse?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like, yeah, so great memories. And then when I was 15, I actually had an autoimmune disease that my mom attributed to me going to Disneyland Splash Mountain. I come down from the Splash Mountain, my whole face was pale. A week later, whole face turned orange, and then I was wheeled into the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Hospital with oxygen. Like, I don't even know what happened. But my mom still thinks it's because of the Splash Mountain. Like, what do you think, Kelly? What do you think happened?
I don't think you get it that quick.
Right? It's really weird. So I was anemic. It was like an autoimmune hemolytic anemia. But the doctors still don't know why. They're like, well, I don't know why. So they just pumped me with a bunch of steroids. And eventually it stabilized. But like, I have a joke. Like, I had 9 packs of blood transfusion. So I joke about it like, oh, my mom says I'm not Chinese anymore. She doesn't know if I'm black, white, Indian. Right? Yeah, I don't know either. I did have 9 packs of blood transfusion. That was not fun. Like, it stings.
Right. You got the soul of all these different people in you now.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I do. That's what she says.
Right. Do you find yourself out and just acting out of character every once in a while, like?
Oh, all the time. Crazy.
Yeah, it's all that blood,
Yeah, probably. She did some kind of. So after that, my dad found out he had nasal cancer. He didn't even smoke, but I don't know. He had nasal cancer. Maybe it's the pollution in Hong Kong. So it was like stage 4. So he went kind of blind in one eye and kind of deaf in the ear. So they went back for a while and then came back, and then my parents' marriage fell apart, and then my mom had breast cancer too.
Wow.
So everyone is getting sick and cancer. It's like Seattle is just like, wow, my favorite place on earth. But I can laugh about it now. But from 12, 13, 14, from then till I was like 23, 4, it was all like sick, cancer, sick. Like, yeah. So I think the comedy really helped me to not focus on being, sad and, or else I would be so depressed. So I think the comedy really helps me to turn everything into humor.
Hey, that helps, man. Comedy,
Yeah.
Humor is the best medicine, whatever. Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
that.
because I'm highly sensitive to medicine. I can't even take like Benadryl. Like, I'll pass out. Like,
oh shoot, I'm hit.
Exactly. I probably still have steroids in my system. Like my mom says, you gotta detox. She's like, you gotta do coffee enema. I know. Have you heard of that before? Okay, so I brought the cancer thing up because she became a natural healer. So she knows about all these Gerson therapy and went to Mexico, get oxygen injected in her breast. So she didn't have to get a mastectomy. And she's fine. Cancer is in remission. Okay. But she's always doing her coffee enemas, and she's trying to convert me. She's like, you got steroids in your system still. You gotta clean your stuff out.
What do you just shoot coffee up there?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Woo!
But it's got me a special organic Mexican coffee. I have a whole pound up on my shelf. I need to use it.
Do you do it hot or cold?
You have to do it warm, room temperature.
Okay.
if your audience wants to know about it.
Man.
Because she said it helps diabetes, obesity, pancreatic problems, liver, cleanse out, detox, everything.
The thing is, I'm totally not grossed out about that, and I'm more interested in like, that sounds.
It's got a lot of good therapies. Like it helps you with a lot of stuff. I'll send you some stuff to read. Like if I told my mom I told you about, she'd be like, okay, I'll send it. She has like a lot of like real medical information about it. Actually, I think the Germans, the soldiers in World War II, they would use the coffee enemas to heal themselves into like it's like morphine.
Oh,
All the pain is gone supposedly when you do that. But I don't know. I don't even drink coffee. It gives me a headache. So why would I shoot it up that way?
it also just sounds kind of fun too.
Yeah, it's fun. You try it. Maybe it'll help you detox.
Right. You know, I'm into butt stuff too. You know, so whatever. So when you return to Hong Kong, you said later on you return to Hong Kong. How was that experience like?
First time, I went back twice. So first time was right after I graduated. Like I produced some shows for a while, and then I went back, and that was fun. I missed my grandma, and I saw my brother, and yeah, it was fun. But then I would watch like Jay Leno at night because I missed America so much. Just to feel like normal. It's just so funny. And then when I went back, they're like, you speak Cantonese, like you sound like a baby. So it's like, oh, before I moved here, I had a British accent. It's like sounds so weird. And now I go back to Hong Kong, I sound like a baby. It's like I can never win. Like, I don't know. I don't belong anywhere. But then the second time I went back, I actually worked on some big budget feature films in Hong Kong and London. That was an interesting experience. I mean, the director is really cool and they're great, but it's just like I was working as production assistant and I was doing a role and I was like doing translation. So it was a huge learning curve because they work differently there, and the way they communicate with people are different. The style, I feel like in America, there's more courtesy and respect in some ways, But then again, Hong Kong is just the way we talk, It just sounds very stuck up very easily. Just how we like to talk. We kind of want to be stuck up and kind of arrogant the way we have to talk sometimes. But I feel like in America, there's union. There's, it's just more. Oh, and there's no smoking on set, right? Yeah. That's just a big thing. Everybody smoked on set in Hong Kong, right next to the wires. It was like, boom.
Let me.
In their mouth while they're holding the cords and holding.
Shoot! My cigarette's almost coming out. Oh shoot!
They're just like moving real fast. It was eye opening. I mean, the crew was really great, but it's just different experience.
Let me put out my cigarette on you.
Yeah. But yeah, and I still missed home, so I just see that Hong Kong was my home, but now it's different. So I came back and then I started doing stand up, and then I don't know. I was like, I could stay there. I could go back anytime and keep working on those films, but I wanted to create my own stuff. I wanted to write more. And so I wanted to produce. It wasn't enough to just do a small role here, small role there, and then wait till somebody gives me a break. Because I didn't go back in my early 20s. I mean, no. I mean, even if you went, you gotta go. My dad said you gotta go back like you're 17, 18, 21. You're 25. You're too old. So it's kind of the different kind of business over there.
Yeah.
You don't have as much control in a way. Unless you're a huge star, then you get the control. But you gotta earn that. It takes a long while. And if you're lucky, right? But here I feel like if you really know what you're doing and you're learning and you have a good intention of why you're doing the projects that I usually attract really good people. Like I met you somehow too, online. meet a lot of creatives and
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and people that just not waiting for people to hand them a job or a gig, right?
Right,
We
and you can have your own following, your own little, you know, niche group of people. It's so that's what's kind of cool about things over here and using technology like the internet and stuff like that is that you can create your own sort
connect.
of community.
Yeah, and then we can connect. You're in Detroit, I'm in LA. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So does your British accent from before ever come out anymore?
I don't know. Sometimes it just sounds like the Kiki accent. Like just when I get excited, I don't know what. I mean, I used to talk really soft, like I was, hi, how are you? Like I need to go to the toilet. Okay. Where's the bathroom? I love scones. I enjoyed watching Murder She Wrote.
Yeah.
Donna,
You want some brisket?
a biscuits and tea. I love tea and scones. I bake a lot of pound cake.
So at the end of last year, you were doing a crowdfunding for your show, Sweet and Sour Chicks.
Uh-huh.
You were able to get the money. You started everything. So what's the current status of the show? Definitely with this quarantine crap going on.
We're doing post production right now, so we're still doing the post production. I talked to one of the executive producers, and he suggested that I don't rush it. Rush to show it, just show it online. He said just wait and try to sell it. Try to make the money back and sell it before I start. Showing it all over the internet. So I agree. There's no rush, and I feel like we'll have little teasers here and there. I'm good at doing that. Like
Yeah.
this is what to do now, and then build it up, and then I feel like really there isn't any content like that. There's no single mom comedian talking about sex and love, divorce, marriage, girlfriends, and I mean the other two girlfriend, one of them is like a pop singer, songwriter, the other one's like a man eater guru. She's like a health guru, and like you but there's like a balance. Sometimes you just see the Asian female character certain ways, like how Lucy Liu, I think before people always say, oh, Lucy Liu, right, like more dragon lady type, like fighting kung fu, which is great. I loved her. I don't mind playing that either, but I feel like we're moving towards like more three-dimensional, even more, it's just not all about her being sexy or all about her being a fighter, but she's smart too, or she could have vulnerability, like she doesn't have to be strong all the time,
Right.
right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm mumbling now. I got mommy brain fog.
It's all good. But with doing this show and at this point where you're just kind of in post production and waiting, just not taking time, how do you sort of, and I know you're good at this, but like you said with like the teasers and stuff, but how do you sort of be patient with projects?
Like when it's not finished yet, or from the beginning till
Yeah, how do you just let it just sit,
oh
and let it, let things happen when they need to happen.
oh yeah, like over time, like I used to really pursue trying to be an actress. I would audition. I've done so many casting workshops, stuff, and I always like feel like, oh, I was so desperate or wanting to get a role all the time. I don't know. As I'm getting older, becoming a mom, and I just feel like there's so many things that if it's for you, it's gonna be for you. And then I've learned to trust my instincts more. And I feel like with the Crazy Work Asians, with the festival, and everything that I've been doing with Sweet and Sour Chicks, it's like the more I trust it, and like if I feel like I'm pushing, I just do the opposite. It usually works out. Like I had someone else getting the funding to I was getting the funding from someone, but then it wasn't happening during the Seed and Spark campaign. And then for a moment I'm like, damn, like I worked 2 months to just prepare for that, film the pitch and do all that stuff for the perks and all. it's like a whole project, you know. It's like Patreon, and then now I won't get a big investment from this investor that wanted to invest because like somehow, you know, things always happen.
Yeah.
I mean, but then somehow this person I've never met, somehow I don't know, maybe he ran across the page, he liked it, he thought maybe he's never seen anything like that, and he's a legit producer. He produces films and stuff, a lot of projects. So he green lighted us, and I was like, wow, I'm so surprised that happened. But I think it's because all the stuff that I was doing with Crazy Woke Asians, that it gave my project more legitimacy too, you know, because I've been establishing the name and like what we do, our content, and what we promote, our mission, you know, creating opportunities for Asian Americans. So I think all of that combined, and I feel like if we do the work, then we should just be confident and trust in the work, you know, and
Yeah.
just let it be. And then so sometimes like, oh, Sweet and Sour Chicks right now, post production, I can't think about it too much. So I'm producing this Crazy Woke Asians virtual comedy festival because there's so many coronavirus racism, and none of the comedians can do any more comedy, you know, in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of them don't have gigs now. So I was just all those factors, and I was like, Asian Heritage Month is coming. Like that's why I had the solo performance festival. I was trying to have it in May so we can celebrate. But I was like, oh, now I moved it to end of September. Hopefully that'll happen, right? Who knows? But so I was like, I still want to do something for Asian Heritage Month. So I was like, well, Zoom went pretty well. Why not just do 3 days of different karaoke shows, sketch comedy, music comedy. So that's, and so I'm focusing on that. Then I'm not focusing so much on Sweet and Sour Chicks and thinking what's gonna happen, and I gotta do this and make it happen too, you know. So it's kind of a balance of having another focus, and my son, he keeps me very busy all the time, and just, you know, like I said, just be confident with what you have, right? You know how, you know, like you have a project, you put your heart and soul into it. It came about for a reason, right? If it wasn't meant to be, I feel like it wouldn't have gotten funded, right? And then we didn't have enough to fund the post production, so I had to get another investor for that too. So the fact that happened, I feel like maybe the universe, God, is showing me like maybe this is the timing now, you know? Because before I would try to write stuff, but I never actually, you know, got funded for it like that. Because the pilot, I funded it myself, you know, the year before. And I just didn't even think about it. I just thought, oh man, I'm with the kid all the time. He was a really young baby then. I need to do something. I need to write about something. And I always liked Sex in the City, but you never see like an Asian girlfriend in there. They never dated an Asian guy,
No.
right? It was like Morris Chestnut, I think, the one black guy that's Miranda.
No, I think
dated.
wait, it was Blair Underwood.
Oh, Blair Underwood. Yeah.
So, and I only know that because somebody just mentioned that on something. I forget, like, I forget what it was. Oh, it was like on Deezus and Mero. That's what they mentioned it.
Oh, yeah. So I was like, so it's been like 10 years. I've been wanting to make something about Asian women, their friendship, and like comedy, but a lot of love, and about love and sex about it. Like I always find that's very interesting how like I almost looked up to these women, you know, like you start watching the shows and it's like, oh my gosh, Sex in the City is so fun, it's so cool, the relationships are so great, and but you can't help but wonder, like, and now there's Insecure, right? That show is great too. I love it. You know, it's like the relationships of the two main characters and the other girlfriends, and so I feel like there really hasn't been an Asian. Maybe there is. I don't know. I haven't really seen one, but that is in my age group, like in the 30s, right?
Right.
Like talking about marriage, divorce, babies, motherhood, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Right. When did how did you? Was there anybody that you looked up to, coming up where you were, when learning about creating and writing and producing shows? Or is that, where did your sort of learn, education on that kind of stem from?
I read a lot of like self-help spiritual books for a long time, Like I've read so many stuff, and I used to watch Oprah stuff a lot and listen to her and stuff because she's a minority, she's a black woman, and I mean back then there wasn't really any Asian woman that was like having her own talk show, in the 90s, calling the shots and just giving everybody a car, everybody gets a car, like so I was seeing how I was like following her a lot and seeing how she produces movies, she speaks for her community, she creates opportunities, she elevates the community, like show a different side of the black people, right? And I feel like I aspire to doing that, and my mom she didn't want me to act, my parents, but then somehow they always said I make a good host. And she even said maybe you can have a talk show someday. She always said that to me. It's very strange. I don't know why she used to say that. I guess she thinks I'm a good host or something. But I was like 10 when she said that, right? So I was like, really? I'm a good host? Okay. I don't. She just thought that I would be a good host. So when I would watch Oprah stuff, I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool to have like a talk show or talk to different people and and then create film productions and all this kind of stuff, right? So. And then I looked up to Dave Chappelle. I would watch his show, back then on Comedy Central. I just thought all the racist stuff that he did was so funny, but then you related to it, right?
Yeah.
So he was so smart about it. Like I'm still trying to figure out every time I watch it, like how does he come up with all that? Like how does his brain works?
Right. Yeah. The Chappelle Show was on a whole other level.
Yeah, like. Was he high the whole time when he created that? Like,
Something, man. He was like that show was just on a whole other level where you're like every week you're like,
yeah, every week it's more like, and with Crazy Woke Asians, I've been thinking about taking the format to another level, because right now we showcase different comedians, which is great, but I want it to be like I want to do like a woke Q&A kind of like game thing, maybe like a battle thing, like but I mean we call Crazy Woke Asians like with the name, but it's not like we're so woke that we just think everyone is whack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're not so like we are woke,
Yeah.
Actually, I got that name from I was listening to Childish Gambino a lot when I saw that movie. What's that movie? The scary movie. It's not Us. Us is new one.
Oh, you mean Get Out?
Yeah, Get Out. I watched it like 10 million times, and I keep hearing that song on Stay Woke on the Pandora, and I was like, I was brushing my teeth one day. I was like, well, they were doing all these like the actors. They were all taking the Asian roles like with the Doctor Strange and all that stuff for a while. Like I don't know, a couple years ago, and I was like, man, what's new? And I was like brushing my teeth. I'm like, man, just pissed me off. I'm like, I'm crazy and woke. I'm like, Crazy Woke Asians. That's a cool name. So it just stuck, Sometimes people like come to the show that I don't know if they're expecting us to say some real woke shit, but I don't know. I mean, being an Asian doing stand up in America, like especially for me, an immigrant, I came in when I was 12, So English was my second language. Like that's pretty woke to me that I can even do that, and I'm producing, so I don't even need to try to be woke. You know what I mean? I feel like I already like been through a lot. Like my the way I grew up, being the only Asian all the time, and I got made fun of with my accent, and just defying my parents' wishes, becoming an actor and like stand up. My dad, he passed. He'd be like, "What? Stand up? You sit down." Like,
stand up, man.
He'd
What's
be like,
that?
"Why you think you're funny, man? Why you think I don't laugh at anything you say, Kiki? You're not funny. Like,
You're not funny."
Man, seriously, my dad passed, but if he knew I was doing stand up, he would just be like, "Okay."
You're not
like,
funny.
He's like, "How do you make a living? How do you make money? Marry
How do
a
you make
doctor?"
money on that?
Yeah, how?
He's like, "You're not funny." Then he'll name somebody that's funny that you're like,
Yeah.
"You're not funny. This guy's funny."
Yeah, he would fall asleep. He used to come watch my theater shows, and he would pass out. And I can see him. It's just like great. Well, at least he showed up. That's cool. But yeah. So I forgot your question. I just started talking a lot.
No, that's fine. But okay, so when you had your son, you know, what was sort of like going through your mind about, you know, what you wanted to do in regards to your projects and things that was kind of floating in your mind? You know, did you ever just want to give all that up, or you know, what was sort of going through your mind at that time?
Oh, I was taking him to go auditions with me all the time, and I was like, man, this is tiring. And that's when I was still nursing him, and I was like pumping while I was driving on the 110 freeway, like it's crazy. And then he's like crying in the back seat, and I would have other actors trying to watch him for me while I go in for like 5 minutes auditions, like an hour drive. That was crazy. And I just thought, my dad was a musician, but he was a really great musician too. He sang, he played piano, self-taught, guitar, drums. I mean, he was very talented, and he played in a band for years. And he almost got signed to a label, but he just thought that is not legitimate. Like, he'd rather be a businessman. Like, his mentality, was like,
Yeah.
I want to make money. I want to call the shots. I want to be the man that has a company, So he gave that up. But his whole life, I watched him. He always singing, dancing. And I feel like his company didn't work out at the end, and I think I can see that he had regrets. Like, he wanted, maybe a little part of him wondered, and I wondered too. Like, if he just kept singing and performing, man, that would be easy for me now. Shoot, I'll be like on the stage, 30,000 people.
Yeah, you'd be like the second generation of this
Exactly.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, which would actually be kind of hard, because he'd be like, that song sucks, because I used to want to be a pop singer, right? Because my dad was saying I played the piano, I sang all my life. That's why I do karaoke, but I don't try to sing good. Because before I'd be like, oh, I don't sound perfect, I don't want to put it up. But karaoke is fine. You're supposed to be silly.
You're supposed to be awful. Yeah.
So I just don't care, That's how I could even put it out on my Instagram. But before, it's like everything I gotta be perfect. I was classically trained. I was supposed to be a classical pianist. I know, it's so stereotypical, but
Totally.
I know. So 10 years of piano, I was like, peace out. I'm not taking piano anymore. I don't want to be Chinese, a typical Chinese girl. Like, I wanted to play drums, and my dad's like, drums are for boys. And I'm like, damn it, And I wanted to be a fashion designer for a while. And my dad was like, oh, if you work for Versace or Gucci, or else forget about it. But the ironic thing is, he was an entrepreneur. He has his own label, like
Right.
his own brand of clothing. But then he's telling me like what I couldn't. It's kind of strange. I don't know why. I guess I was too young to really think about like. So I just ran away from home.
You went through the whole like variety of dreams a little girl has.
Yeah, but in the back of my mind, someday, I have Crazy Woke Asians T-shirts now, But someday I still want to have like my own clothing line, my own perfume line, my own spa. Like, there's so many things that I want to do. Like comedy show is like at the beginning of it. I want to build a platform for like a lot of Asian comedians, like Def Jam in a way. Like, I don't want to compare, but well, there's no comparison, but I was watching the Def Jam reunion or whatever, where all the comedians came back from 20 years ago, and they're like, this helped me to, get more exposure and platform. I mean, I aspire to that, you
Right.
know, why not? Dream big or bigger, right? So I do aspire to that. And I think that keeps me going too, because I have a grander vision, bigger than just try to get this money, do the show here and there, make the show sell out here. And I have more of a vision of what other projects I want to do, and how I can create more opportunities, even a bigger platform for Asian comedians. And maybe it won't be just for Asians in the future, you never know. I mean, the virtual festival, I've included all kinds of non-Asians, so it's good, and all over the country, Like, there's people from Mississippi, Atlanta, Chicago, the UK, Australia, Canada.
Yeah.
Like, I think this quarantine thing is good, because I could never do that, right? If I was doing live shows.
Yeah, this quarantine is making people be creative, like
Yes.
forcing people to be creative with what we have, our limited resources and stuff like that. So, there's some like really cool things that are happening.
Yeah, and my comedian friends like, yeah, I think God wanted us to all chill out, like just be not so social for a while too. Like, just be at
And let the
home.
earth breathe, man. There's like places around, like there's. Well, I hear in LA, like
Oh yeah, it's nice out.
there's
The
no smog.
Yeah, China. I hear the air cleared out too. It's great.
Yeah, there's like the earth is breathing right now, man. Like,
I think it's
so
great.
it's like crazy, like that. Yeah, I think Mother Nature just wanted us to chill, and
Yeah,
not suck the life
yeah.
out of planet Earth.
I think that's what we were doing, just consuming, over consuming. And I think now we get to just sit. And what a privilege we get to sit at home. At least we have a roof. I mean, if you think about it in those terms, like, well, we have food and we have a roof. And I mean, I do see a lot of homeless around too, or that don't have anywhere to go but the streets. It is LA. So I feel very blessed. But I mean, sometimes I still get anxious about it. Suddenly I'm like, oh, what? I can't go to the gym. I can't go walk around the bookstore. I can't,
Like right
you
now,
know.
I'm loving talking with you because I want some face to face with somebody.
Yes. Yes. That's good socializing already, right? Like before this, I've never done a Zoom before. Like I did that couple of Zoom comedy shows. That's it. But before this quarantine, I never done Zoom before.
So, with this platform that you have, what's the importance of sort of uplifting each other in this in the community that you kind of have with all these different Asian comedians and actors and whatnot. What sort of you know what's sort of like the balance of like supporting them and then offering some constructive criticism within that community.
Well, comedians don't want your feedback unless they ask for it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm that way too. So I mean, if I watch everybody, if their energy is good, you're allowed to have like a bad night here and there. Everybody has that. Even like Dave Chappelle can have a bad night.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's all about the energy and the attitude. So if a comedian, they have great energy, great attitude. They just you know I usually have pretty established comedians, but I would put like a few more up and coming.
Yeah.
I don't try to put people that are not ready because that's just bad for my audience, right? Nobody wants
Yeah.
to sit there watch someone get really nervous and like trying to test out their jokes on them. You got to do the work. Go do your mic. Go do bringer shows. Whatever you do, get used to it, right? Before you go up to a show like my show at the Comedy Store, like people expect you to bring it, right? So I usually have a pretty decent lineup, to begin with. So I don't really have to offer too many criticism at all. And if I sense someone's not being grateful or they have an attitude like they're too good to be there, that kind of feeling, then I just don't bring them back.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that is like emailing me every day, like all the time wanting to be on it, and I do try to remember people, but if they keep reminding me in a not annoying way, then eventually, or just come to a show, then you support it, and I really like to meet the person. I can feel if they're gonna be funny or not already most of the time,
Yeah, that's
you
kind of like how it is in any sort of community. Like during my adult years, I came up in the hip hop scene here in Detroit, and it was like the people that would go out and support the shows. You'd see their face out at shows. Those are the people that got the opportunities, because
yes,
they were
yes,
they were putting in the work to support the scene and be there, be present.
yes, and they come up, say hi, and congratulate you, and and just happy for you. Then I feel like, man, I want to do something for you. I want you to be part of it too, like bring you on the show. And sometimes when another comedian vouch for someone and introduce me, that tells like someone that I really respect, and they like, this guy is really funny, you gotta have, then I'm like, okay, okay, and then I'll put them on the next show sometimes.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
it just depends on the timing. But for like my Sweet and Sour Chicks, I went through a long process for casting the two other leads, the female leads, like the two best friends. It took me a while. Like I found someone that was like a real singer songwriter. She was great, and her acting was great. But somehow, like I guess there was a conflict that came up last minute, but that they should know. That is my pet peeve. Okay, like why are you gonna try to audition, waste my time like 4 or 5 times? I don't know, like do callback, and then to know you get it, then you tell me you can't do it. Like I don't even get that. Like if I'm gonna spend 3 4 times going somewhere and communicating for like a couple of weeks, doing a few scenes, and doing chemistry, I'm gonna be available when it happens. I'm not gonna suddenly tell you, oh, I'm gonna be on a gig. Like that's such a slap in the face, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
like why you waste my time? Like I could have just used that time to cast someone else, right? Like I just wish people are more respectful when they do that. But so I had to recast again, like open it up. Well, at first the character I had my friend in mind who was in the pilot. She's great, but then she moved to Canada, and I couldn't really afford to bring someone from Canada,
Yeah.
and because SAG and everything too. So the producers just didn't agree with me to bring someone out of town, for for budget reasons, for union reasons. So I had to, and I thought I found somebody, and then like after weeks, and then I have to do it again. And luckily, I found this other actress, and she's great. So and it worked out because then I found this other actress who was reading for another like supporting role, but I was like, it doesn't quite fit. But then she had a great look for like the man eater, the girlfriend. I was like, maybe I should have her read it. So I was just reading people with other different roles because that's how hard it became.
Okay.
And then she was really good. And then we did the chemistry read, and then yeah, and then so we did a lot of rehearsals. So if anyone is not off book, I really get on it because I direct and write it, and I have to know all the lines too, right? Like you can at least just know your lines. Like for actors, that's how I feel about it. Like
Yeah.
when I do a project, you hire me, I'm gonna know my part and my lines. I'm not gonna be like, I'm sorry, I forgot the script. So those are like little things. If I would critique anybody, it would be those things. Just at least know your lines and to go a little bit above and beyond if you can.
Yeah.
Like I would, right? Like try to come up with creative ideas for the character. Like really try to build, like be open to improvising some things, stuff like that. Then I know if just like the comedians, next time I know if I want to work with them again. If you're unprepared, you're late, you forgot where rehearsal is, you don't freaking bring your wardrobe, right? You don't know where your script is. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, you could get out.
Yep.
That's why it took a long time this time for casting, like just to make sure, like, and I think that kind of pays off because the executive producer is like, you really got to find someone like really strong actress. Like that's what's going to make the show. Like everybody got to be strong actor.
Yeah.
It can't be just like someone with a high following, looks good. You got to be able to be funny and improv and know what they're doing.
Yeah. Sometimes you see, things online where like you see what it could be, but like,
I hate that.
Like the actor, the actress just isn't there,
Yeah, and you're like, this is taking me out. And then it's so funny when you say that, what it could be. It's like, like
Yeah,
what?
you're like,
Because we put so much work into it, right? Like a good project takes so much work just as like a bad project, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know how good it's gonna be or bad until it comes out, like how people relate, right? Because everything's so subjective. I could love it, and you could be like, blah, whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, it's just so at least to have those elements that you can control, like the actors that are they know their craft, they're good at what they do, and they can bring to it. Like all the people I work with on the crew, I've worked with before, they've been supportive. So I would kind of knew them, except for the DP. Like I hired her from Hoo Ha Ha, which is Elizabeth Banks' platform for female comedians, and she's great, But the other people I've worked with during Crazy Vocations or like the pilot, so it was nice, So even if I was directing, my AD was pretty helpful, and I trusted like the DP and the camera guys. So I watched the playback, and then I can see what I can adjust, like, or what the scene can adjust, with the acting, and then just making sure everybody gets all the shots that we need, because the pilot, we had a round table scene. It was so crazy. It was like a 15-hour overnight shoot or something. I forgot. It was crazy, and we had to get it right away. We had 3 cameras, but somehow we still didn't get one of the angles. I don't know what happened, and it was on the shot list, but the AD said we shot it. So this time, I know. So this time, I cannot rely on anybody like 100%. I gotta be on it myself too. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
It's understandable. It's understandable.
right? You know, like, you don't want to micromanage, you don't want to control too much, but then at the same time, the end result is, whoa, we don't have this side footage of the people's faces talking. It's only that side, and then, you know, so you learn. You know, you learn.
Word. Yeah, before we wind down this episode, there's something I always like to ask my guests, and that question is, what sort of a nugget of knowledge, a lesson from your life and career that anybody listening to this interview, it doesn't matter what they do, could sort of project into their own life?
Doesn't matter what they. Just really, no dream is too big, right? Like I really feel like if you, like I said before, feel confident in what you're doing. Like when you trust the work. I remember my acting teacher showed, like, I was showing her my headshot resume, and she was like, "You have a lot of stuff on here." She's like, "You don't need to put all that. You know, just trust the work like that you've done. It's good." And then trust that, and just connect it to your passion and your dream. And I feel like, I know it sounds like, oh, dream big, but really, I don't think a lot of people dream big anymore. I feel like a lot of people just dream like in their dream, like when they're sleeping, but they don't really have a vision, like dream, like, and actually take the action to do it. I feel like you just take one foot in front of the other, like, and then you attract people. You know, like I met you somehow, and then you helping me tell my stories. Like, I get to share my stories on your platform. You know, like, I feel like if you take the leap of faith, maybe it doesn't look like what you think it is, but eventually it kind of all comes together. Like, I never thought I would do stand up. Like, never really.
Right.
My best friend from college started when she was 10 years ago. And I watched her out at the Gotham Comedy Club in New York. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. I can never do that. Like, that's very cool, though. And now, look at me now. I'm actually producing a comedy show. And then I got it in the Comedy Store, which is, we're the only all-Asian comedy show at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. So I really feel like if your intention is there, and you have to let go of things that are not serving you. It's a very long answer. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like if I was keep getting stuck on, I want to be an actress, I want to win an Oscar, I want to be I want to act, I want to be in the movies, I would never do any of this, and so much joy I would lose, right? So much time. And sometimes I look back, I'm like, damn, I spent like 18 years like pursuing acting, but now somehow because of the comedy, I'm actually writing differently, you know, because stand-up, you're gonna write concise and like to the point, and
yeah.
I feel like it helped me as an actor, because I can connect with people better. It helped me with my comedy, helped me with my communication skills, and then I produced my dream project pretty much. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it is like my dream project, my yellow Sex in the City dream project, right? Sweet and Sour Chicks. So I feel like from all that, it kind of led to that. It circled back. So I feel like if it's meant to be, it will work out, right? Like I really feel that way. After 25 years of pursuing like my acting, like I feel like whatever, I don't even, when I do my self tapes now, before I get all like, oh, what should I should do this, or I feel like my character would be talking that way. I have all these backstories, but now I feel like, what would Kiki do in this situation? And calm down, because I took so many classes that just tell you all these techniques, and it's like so in your head. Now I'm just like, just trust your instincts. Like with any job, even office job, trust your instincts. Like, you know how to handle it, or else you wouldn't be here at this moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get to enjoy the process more. Like, I'm enjoying doing the self tapes more. I'm not thinking, oh, are they gonna call me? Am I gonna get it? Like, whatever. Like, I don't need it. I feel like, get it, great. No, then okay, I'm doing my own thing anyways. And actually, I turned down a lot of auditions too now, because I'm trying to focus on Crazy Vocations and my stand-up. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel like just don't hold on to some things that you think that's your dream. Like, just have a bigger dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
you can have an even bigger dream.
Yeah, like I think that's something that's really been evident in my life the past few years. I've been, through, a lot of life changes, going through therapy, discovering myself a lot more, to that you're like, you're able I was able to let go of bullshit, things that just, wasn't wasn't there for me, and was just like giving me was like almost like keeping me down. It was like a weight on my shoulder more.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I feel you when when you say that.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, it was I just want to say thank you for being on the Fresh of the Word podcast. It's been a long time coming. It's been great talking with you. I'm glad to get some FaceTime with somebody these days. Go ahead and where can people go online to follow you or any of your shows or anything? Go ahead and plug everything.
Okay, so social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter is at Crazy Woke Asians, WOKE. Some people say Crazy Walk, like WOK. I'm like, no, it's Crazy Woke Asians.
It's not a
And then
walk,
with an S.
we're not cooking. You're not
No,
cooking stuff.
no, I'm not cooking right now. Okay, I got walk in my balcony, but I'm not cooking. Crazy Woke Asians with an
That'll be
S.
your next show. You'll have a cooking show called Crazy Walk Asians.
I should. I'll be like, hi, you guys want some pineapple fried rice? And then the website is crazywokeasians.com. And then for me, my social media, it's at Kiki, Kiki, Funny Mama.
Hey yo, thank you for listening to this episode of Fresh is the Word, hosted and produced by myself, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier, empowered by Anchor at anchor.fm/Fresh is the Word. Intro theme music by Foulmouth, Shimmy Bango, and Knox Money. Fresh is the Word is available on all major streaming platforms. Please rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. If you want to support Fresh is the Word, please consider pledging via Patreon at patreon.com/Fresh is the Word. Follow Fresh is the Word on social media on Twitter at Fresh is the Pod, on Instagram at Fresh is the Word Podcast, and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Fresh is the Word. For more information about Fresh is the Word and our other podcasts, Breaking Records and Renaissance Soul, and a collection of pop culture articles and reviews, please visit freshasthepodcast.com. Thank you for listening and your support. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.